The other two categories I'd like us to think about as sort of revolutionizing hope is reappropriating our imaginations. Is in a sense what capitalism does, it steals from us everything that we have and appropriates not just the means of production, it appropriates landscapes, our bodies, our minds, the natural world, and it makes it a commodity that's outside and separate from us. And the only few things that I think potentially can stop capitalism, because I think it's really scary to think about what can stop capitalism. Marxists come up with all sorts of theories of crises, and this is going to be it in the end of capitalism. But I think it's so much more subtle than that. I think what capitalism steals is our very humanity. And what is at the core of what makes us human? It's our ability to imagine a different world. Our ability to actually think that something could look different and then actually put that into practice. I think that's sort of the core of what I hope capitalism can never take from us. So both the ability to imagine and then to do it, to actually implement it. And it is doing that in many, many ways. It's reappropriating that right now. It's hard to imagine a world beyond capitalism because our imaginations are already so damaged by what we understand the world to be right now. So it's really hard to think past that. But I really want us to reclaim the idea of what I think is also interesting, and why I think Obama, I'm going to point back to the Obama campaign, is so much of it was the beautiful visual aesthetics of the possibility of hope through posters and art and media production and music. And part of it was just people's feeling this uplifting sense of their own creativity of wanting the world to look different. Art and beauty and culture and spaces, which also seems secondary to revolution, but I think it's really important when capitalism takes away that very ability to even think about what the world would look different and start sketching out possibilities. And the last category, and it's the most important one, and those two we'll talk a lot more about it, is reconstituting the world. And by that I mean actually taking power back for all of us, where everyone has the same amount of power so that we're all having this, and what I mean is we're empowered. That we're not having power over each other, but power together. So that again is the part I think capitalism tries to take from us. It tries to take all our power. It tries to give us back little bits to make us think we have power. The power to pick the newest iPod, or the power to figure out, all sorts of things, the choice, or the power to participate in reality TV shows now, or all these things where it's making us feel like we can be part of something to make decisions about the world. Or opening up even more political spaces like the World Social Forum, which isn't just capitalism, but it's forms of hierarchy, where look, a small group of global elites and NGOs can open up space for all of humanity to make decide what the world looks like, but we actually don't get to decide what the world looks like. So much as the World Social Forum is a really empowering place, things, there's also not just capitalism in states, but there's NGOs, very powerful entities that stop us from making decisions about the world. So what I think is most important to revolutionizing hope is when we have spaces where people can just start remembering what it's like to decide their daily lives together. And say, wow, even if it's just my street and my neighbors, and we get all come out together and hang out and say, what do we want to do to make our neighborhood look different? And let's just start doing that. And we did it by taking power back and reclaiming what it means to decide what we want our very street to look like in terms of, whatever it is, usage, green space, how we're gonna, whatever it is we want to deal with and where we live in our neighborhoods, that's the beginning of revolutionizing hope, because people really feel their own sense of ability to shape the world and make it look different. And so I'm going to end on that's why I think Obama was really successful. I was fascinated as an anarchist by Obama last year, because I hated him. I knew he was going to do rotten stuff as president. He's not that he's a bad person. He might be a sweet, lovely guy. Seems like it. But that he's in an institution that no matter who's in that position, there's so much logic to it. It's never going to look different. And in fact, I thought he was more dangerous because he is so nice and is so articulate and did seem so friendly and was a person of color, which was remarkable and something we needed to take account for, given the legacy of racism in this country. But what I thought was really upsetting to me about him, what was really interesting to me about him, is he got people to think, he used a great community organizing model that we're really bad at, when he got people to realize their own social power, their own political power. And it was really touching to me to have people say, wow, it's the first time in my life, I'm not just voting, that's not politics. I actually went to the DNC and was hanging out outside for the week, trying to do stupid things which didn't work. And this one guy, I'll just end on this, this one guy said he'd come all the way across country just to be there, just to be outside the gate, just to be in that city. And he happened to be a person of color, and so foolishly I was like, oh, because it must be really powerful that there's almost going to be a person of color as president, because that's not it. That's not it. He goes, it's because he's made me feel like, we can all, I've always voted I've always thought, you know, but that's not politics, that's not politics. And he goes, this year, I finally felt like what politics is like you can go talk to your neighbors, you can knock on doors, you can self-organize. And that, we need to do that. We need to give people a sense of what it means to reconstitute hope through doing it ourselves. I don't want Obama to have that space, I want us to have that space. Okay, so I talked a little too long and I will end on that, is that we need to take back power from below. We need to give people the hope that we can do that, and there are moments we do that, and it feels great. And that feeling of greatness is going to be what's going to push us forward to a better world.
I'm Paul Messermith-Glavin, and I'm part of the IAS and part of the editorial collective for Perspectives, which is a theoretical journal for the IAS. And right now we're looking for articles on the economic and climate crisis. So if anyone here has written anything or knows anyone that's writing things that haven't been published, great ideas that you'd like to develop into an essay, you should talk to me afterwards. I'm also part of the IWW and work at the Red and Black Cafe. And I'm part of a group called Parasol, which is a climate change study group. We're doing a workshop tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Talking about the connection between capitalism and climate change. I wanted to start my talk with the popular saying that the Chinese character for crisis represents both danger and opportunity. I returned last year from spending a year in China, which made me very pessimistic about the ecological future of the planet. China is so polluted that you barely see the sky. We spent about a year in Chengdu and Beijing. And in that time, in 10 months in Chengdu, we saw the sky maybe 5 times. In Beijing, you have no idea how big the city is because you can see about a city block. And then the city recedes into smog. We were there in June last year, 2 months before the Olympics. And the thought that they were going to have Olympic competitions in Beijing seemed like a joke. I mean, you could barely breathe just walking down the street, much less to compete athletically. So being in China for a year made me very pessimistic about the future of the planet, especially if the whole planet's heading in this direction. At the same time, this is a panel called Revolutionizing Hope. So I figured, well, you know, the Chinese character for crisis represents, you can interpret it, it means both danger and opportunity. This could be a good way to start my talk. But it turns out that, in fact, I just thought I'd do some research into this because it's a popular saying, but I don't know if it's true. So I looked up the character for crisis is Weiji, its first tone. And in fact, it means crisis. There's no opportunity involved. It's similar to the Chief Seattle quote that everyone has bumper stickers of. And I saw someone had one on their water bottle just the other day. How can you buy or sell the land, the warmth? How can you buy or sell the air, the warmth of the land, etc.? That Chief Seattle never said that. It was written by a filmmaker in 1970 for a movie called Home, and it's attributed to Chief Seattle, and everyone thinks Chief Seattle said it, but he never said it. He actually thanked the president for letting him sell his land in 1855. So anyway, opportunity has nothing to do with the Chinese character for crisis.